What's up, everyone? This is your everything show. This is your Smackdown show, your AEW Rampage show. This is your Battle of the Belts post show. Holy cow, do we have a lot to get through. We've got so much to tell you about. We've got so much happening on Fightful Select. There was a name that went up from New Japan who was of interest over at WWE. Not who you might be thinking, not Mercedes Vernado, not some other of these suspects that you might have had, but another name is joining said person. So go to Fightful Select to find out more, even more New Japan news, even more interest than who was already reported on Fightful Select. Always more news coming out. I don't know if you've heard, Alex, there's a little bit of Vince McMahon drama that happened.
Wait, is he back?
Much like Slim Shady, he's back. Tell a friend.
Man.
I have a friend with me that I haven't seen in a few weeks, and that's Alex Cardoza. How you doing, Alex?
I am so stoked to be back here again, and it wouldn't be a welcome back party for me if we didn't have 15 hours of wrestling in one night.
There you go. There you go. We have so much to talk about, so much to get through, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. So get in super chats, humper chats, head over to twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. Yeah, I don't know why King of North's comment is up, but we're going to take it down. We are going to find some super chats and humper chats to talk about instead. But we are going to start with SmackDown and then go into all of the AEW stuff, which I am excited about. But we'll start with Chi-Town's first chiming in saying, my MVP of tonight's AEW mid-card, everybody showed out tonight. Really impressed. A lot of really great in-ring action. Not a ton of consequential in-ring action for 4 hours of wrestling, but we will take it. Starting with SmackDown, just because we got 2 hours of each and no major title changes despite Battle of the Belts being a thing. We got Allie Hoff chiming in via Humper Chat. Thank you so much for chiming in, Allie, saying, did the Rampage Battle of the Belts crowd come across as loud as it felt here in the arena? Very cool that you got to attend. And yes, these West Coast crowds, especially these first-timer West Coast crowds that are maybe haven't been able to see these shows because COVID slowed down tours, or they were just running Chicago like it was their home venue there for a while. Very, very hot crowds last week, this week in Denver as well. Very fun to see. Very fun to see. I also think that the hot crowds might have something to do with the fact that these shows have had really strong booking and been better for AEW. I feel like ever since Full Gear, good stuff happening, man. Good stuff. Jam Beard saying, so Kate, what you're saying is the Linda and the Sheeler to Stardom / New Japan Pro Wrestling confirms. Go to Fightful Select to learn about Linda and Sheila. They're behind the paywall most Mondays and pay-per-views. I will say that isn't who Sean has reported, but you never know. You never know when the Linda and the Sheila are going to be a tag team headed your way. And we've got Ryan Sullivan saying the return of Alex. Yes, we're so excited to have Alex back.
Yes, I was very much sick. Like that bug that went around destroyed me, powerbombed me.
Oh man, you had a move and then you were sick and then Sean decided to show up to work. So it's been a few weeks since we've gotten to have you around. I'm very excited to have you back. It felt, I'm not going to lie, it felt not bad, just so different being in the co-pilot seat last time. I got so used to hosting. I got so used to my segues leading into ads, and then all of a sudden we're doing live reads. It was a very different feel that was happening. But we're going to dive in here, and we are going to get back to some of your super chats and humper chats, starting with SmackDown and this Bloodline promo. I'm also going to just go through kind of their whole storyline that was weaved through the episode today. I thought it was really, really fun. This was some of my favorite Roman stuff. Man, when they get out of the way and just let him be the cool dude that he is, he's a really, really compelling character. So we open tonight with this Bloodline segment. Roman saying that he doesn't lose and that Sammy is kind of encroaching on his role as head of the table. He didn't like that Sammy was calling his shots like he was Babe Ruth and then couldn't back it up. And I loved that for so many reasons. I felt like it justified them losing pretty well, and Roman doesn't lose, right? We don't see that happen. So factual statement on the screen. I loved this opener. Later, we get Sammy trying to talk to him, and Paul Heyman saying now isn't the time. We get Roman saying that he doesn't accept Sammy's apology later, but swerve. Roman takes accountability in this really fun way of saying that he shouldn't have yelled at him. That was on him. That was his fault. I still feel like that's all toying with Sammy's emotions, right? That feels more manipulative than it does authentic. But man, when they just let Roman sound like a person, he is one of the most compelling characters on television. I thought tonight was a really great example of that. He just sounded like very sincerely asking Sami Zayn why he would be doing the things that he was doing. I thought it was a great through line. We also did get Kevin Owens saying, oh, if I'm such a problem that's hanging around, why don't you fight me at Royal Rumble about it? Which I thought was great. If you wanted to get rid of him, that was a good place to try and do it. And then also said that he'll see Sammy when he finds his balls, which I appreciated. I don't normally like cheap balls comments, but
Ball talk. That
was a pretty fun one. So what did you think of this opening segment, and how did you feel about the Bloodline through line through the whole episode? Because I thought it was really great tonight.
Yeah, man. You can tell the decline of what's happening between the Bloodline and Sami Uso. Like it's just you see what's gonna happen. It's that train that you can spot it, hear it, feel it, all that good stuff. I thought that it's good when they let Roman just speak, like you just mentioned before, and kind of not have that weird like grunts and like what he used to do before. Remember those stupid faces he would make when he would talk, trying to like act tough? He's just so cool out there, man. He's just so cool, and he's like letting it all out. He got angry. He showed emotion. Like, who the hell are you? Like, you should just disappear. Like, there was a lot of nuances today that made me happy with him.
I agree. And like you said, like, I don't know, that always just seems to come across as a little bit more authentic to me. I agree wholeheartedly. We've got Tom LaValle saying, happy Friday. Kate looking comfy. Alex looking too sweet. AEW shows were actually good tonight, but next week's Rampage is going to hump. Yeah, next week's Rampage, it's a live one out of LA. Those live West Coast ones are like different level, and live ones in general, I think, tend to be a little bit stronger. So hoping for more of that from AEW in the future, just because it does feel like there's a little bit more of an effort. Nothing's going to be spoiled. So worth it to them. But I am comfy. We started at 12:15. I said we're going to have a pajama party, and I'm very happy to be doing so tonight. Jam Beard, clearly a fan of the Tuesday night show where all we do is puns, saying ball puns in honor of KO tonight. Whoops, sorry, I clicked out of that. My monitor's acting a little bit funny tonight. Sorry about that, guys.
Drop kick it. It always works.
I need to Fonzie it. We'll put, there's the appropriate comment that we're looking for. Ball puns tonight in honor of KO's comment. We're not going to do ball puns, and we're not going to overrun this particular show with puns, because one, that's a Tuesday night gimmick, and two, we are starting at 12:15 Eastern and have 3 shows to get to. But I appreciate the support, and hey, I'm always here for ball puns. We're just going to not overtake the show with them. But Orion Ben kind of agreeing with us, saying Roman going for that dramatic award, now mind games. Yeah, there's something really fun when he's playing mind games with people, when he's in manipulative mode, when he's got ice in his veins, when he's calculating how he's going to keep his spot at the head of the table. That, to me, is a lot of his best work. So I'm glad you guys like it, too. We've got more and more super chats. Thank you guys so much for all of your support tonight. I know it's a late one getting started, but Mirror Alex, I propose a black pack job greater than Man UN. If you guys want to talk about Vince, we can talk about Vince. Obviously, the news broke. Sean has some really great stuff on Fightful Select about it, about internal reactions. Vince saying that he's coming back for the sale. I don't know if you have noticed this about Vince, but not always like a man of his word. It doesn't always seem so. I think a lot of people nervous that he's going to be sniffing around creative. I'm certainly one of those people that's nervous. I didn't like what he was doing before. I think a lot of people didn't. That's why stock prices went up when he left. That's why ratings went up when he left. So fingers crossed that he's only back for the mission of selling his company. But I I doubt it. Do you have any overall thoughts on this?
Should I write my letter like McMahon did to the board of directors over at Fightful, letting everyone know that I'm coming back, and it's been a couple weeks. Yeah, no, I don't know, man.
That's actually why you're back.
It is, guys. If you didn't know, myself, Kate, and everyone else here on the chat is going to take over. But no, I just really quickly, I kind of, when we were talking about this, when this first broke down, when we were live on the air, and we were just like, kind of like, Sean joined us.
Here
yeah, it went nuts, right? I was like, we all were like, he's going to come back in one way or capacity, right? Like, we knew he was going to snake his way back in. I didn't think it was going to be like this, but I also know that there's a lot of dysfunction in that family, and he's going to sell this company right out from under them. And God only knows whatever company decides to move in and take over, if it does happen, how they're going to rearrange what's going on. They could leave it the same, but it's going to be a hell of a ride to watch, man. I'm kind of excited a little bit, just to kind of watch from the behind the blinds to see what the hell's happening.
It's 2023. It looks like it might be just as wild of a year as 2022 was, which I didn't know if that was something that could make possible. But I feel like we've gotten these momentum swings, right? I feel like AEW was way ahead in the beginning of 2022, and then they had all these internal issues. They were kind of falling behind a little bit. WWE was rejuvenated by Triple H coming in and making some really great changes to the product from just a watchability standpoint. All of the support or all of the reports, on Fightful Select about how morale hadn't been higher than they'd seen in years and years and years, that there was, overall approval because, ratings were up, which means revenue was up, stock prices were up, everything was trending up. And then it started to kind of even out a little bit. AEW refound its footing with booking. They got some of their talent back from the suspensions that were there. Things started to get back on track. I still don't need Jeff Jarrett on my screen 3 times in 1 week, but that's neither here nor there. For the most part, they're on an upswing. The women's division is suddenly killing it. Like, we got all of that, and WWE was kind of like having all these huge returns, and that kind of slowed down, and they kind of fell back like to both being always somewhere between pretty good and really good, with spikes of great shows, right? Like, that's kind of how I felt. Please share the link in the thumbs up. Sorry, my monitor is being so weird, so I'm like trying to click back in, and when I do that, I'm sometimes clicking comments, so apologies. But leave a thumbs up on this video. So it's interesting. I don't know what is happening with the Vince stuff. Stock shot up, I think, because there's going to be a sale. I don't think it's because of Vince's return. I'm sure Vince will use that as a victory lap either way, but it's interesting.
And if anybody, real quick, if anybody's seen the show Succession on HBO Max,
yeah, that's what everyone's saying.
This is I said it from day one. This is everything that goes on in real life in a big C-suite style of business.
What do the C-twins have to do with any of this?
Whoa, C-twins, where?
But it's definitely interesting news. There'll be more and more updates on Fightful Select, along with your New Japan news. Look, it's the beginning of 2023, and we had Wrestle Kingdom, all of these huge implications coming out of that. Sasha Banks, formerly known as the new Mercedes Varnado, Mercedes Moné, is she showing up next week in AEW? She's on a tour of world domination, she said, at Wrestle Kingdom at 3 a.m. We're a week in, and it's already getting pretty wild, so we will see. But we are going to jump back into SmackDown. Thank you so much for your super chats and humper chats. We've had some dips over the holidays and some spikes when there's crazy news like this is happening. But Flame Inc., before we switch back into SmackDown, does ask, I didn't watch SmackDown tonight, but I have a question about Vince. Could the board and shareholders do a vote of no confidence on him to make him leave? So I'll say this, Jimmy Van and Sean did a stream about this separately, and Jimmy Van, because he is a very successful business owner, including Fightful and outside of it, had a lot better insight because he just knows that stuff way better than I do. It's my understanding, I think, that Vince can't vote himself back in, but he can do things like hold the company hostage when he's not in control. So, for example, the news that came out about this is they might not vote him in, but as the majority shareholder, he will not approve the rights of any broadcast deals going forward. So they can't renew with Fox. They can't sell the company unless he okays it. And he said he's not going to okay it unless he's there from day one. So they can keep him out, I think, technically of that position, but he can also just keep the company at a complete standstill. So Valab saying, you're not saying Mercedes Moné, right, Kate? Watch the clip of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez fight about how to pronounce it. I love Dave and I love Brian. I saw their comments about Mercedes Moné and her not showing up after Toni Storm was announced, and I think they missed a swerve. I still think it's a swerve. I still think Mercedes is showing up. If she doesn't show up for that match, I think she shows up after the match. I don't know anything. Dave talks to people inside AEW. I don't. Despite what people like to think, Sean doesn't tell me anything. So my guess is if they got denials that Mercedes is in the match, maybe she's coming out after. Maybe this is a swerve and she shows up at Revolution to dethrone Jade. I don't know. But Britt Baker saying, I'm the boss with a wink. That would be a little too coincidental for me. Jan Beard saying 77-year-old Predator blackmailing the company to force his way back. What is going on with my monitor? Like a bad foot fungus to only sell it for blood money. Makes me never want to watch WWE shows ever again if that happens. So that is in reference to there is a huge piece of this, which is that a company in Saudi Arabia is interested in buying WWE as a potential suitor. Now, there's a lot of things that would have to happen for that to go through. But I know it would be the end of sour grapes. Alex won't watch, other Alex, OG Alex, won't watch the Saudi Arabia shows. I don't think he would be able to stomach watching the WWE product anymore. I don't blame him. I don't know if that would be the best move for them for a lot of reasons.
And they'll scrap Lacey Evans again. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
Mansoor will be nowhere. Mansoor will be nowhere to be found.
Mansoor will nowhere to be found.
Matthew Plus saying Alexa's looking svelte. Katie hiding her pregnancy. No, wow. I'm back on my DDP.
What did I miss?
Oh, Matthew Plus is always trolling me because he's like in love with me. That's fine.
Oh, I like that.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. But we're going to talk about SmackDown a little bit here, I guess. I'll just close the lid on the Vince stuff. For me, I think it's a disgrace. I think it's the most selfish thing that he could do. I'm not surprised by it. I don't for a second believe that he's staying away from creative. And I just feel like women have a right to feel safe where they're about to work. And any of the idiots out there saying that like, oh, but those women got paid or whatever. They got paid money they were owed because they were forced into a situation where it was quit your job or do sexual favors for me. So that paid money is money that they were owed because they chose to leave their contracts because they were being coerced into sexual favors. So I think it's disgusting. I can't imagine being a woman that works for that company and feeling good and feeling safe. There are plenty of women who have said, thank you, Vince, that are happy and feel safe at work, I guess. But I just feel like it's an unfair situation to put not only women in, but men too, who don't want to work for someone that is associated with the things that he's associated, including rape. And, you know, there's a lot of couples in WWE too. So we're also talking about people's wives in these situations. So I think it's gross. I'm not surprised by it. It's not like this is like shocking or surprising information in any way. But did you want to close the loop on anything? Did you have any thoughts?
No, I just feel like I don't know. It's just unfortunately this is corporate America. This is how it will always be until something changes, and we've been saying this, or I've been hearing it for years. So
yeah. Yep. It's gross, but it is a symptom of the circumstances, unfortunately. Caden Cease chiming in saying, so I'm 20 and feels weird. Happy birthday, Caden.
Happy 20th.
Happy. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, I believe. So happy birthday.
It all goes downhill from here, brother. Get that blue chew ready.
Not yet. We'll get there. We're going to get there. Save your segue. Matthew Plus saying, money for Caden. Go buy some friends. Look.
Whoa.
That's rude. And Caden has plenty of friends. And you can see them on the Fightful Overbook watch-along that we did before Wrestle Kingdom. Caden was my co-pilot, and we ended up having a lot of other people join, which was so much fun. But we did a Sasha versus Bayley at TakeOver Brooklyn watch-along before Mercedes made her debut as kind of a fun tribute. John Alba joined in, and he was so great because he had done a match study of that match before, so he was there breaking it down. We had people who saw that match live. Caden had never seen it before, which is crazy, but Caden was the first one I reached out to because I thought of it like very last minute too, and Caden immediately was like, hell yeah, I'll join. So very appreciative of that. Happy birthday. We appreciate you and all the things you do for us here at Fightful.
Yes.
Diving back in, Anthony Velasquez saying, great job by Sammy in that segment as well. He looked legit scared when Roman snapped on him. His sincerity in all of these vignettes and just backstages and in the ring. I can't limit it to any of the work he's done, but like it's the innocence he has every time he gets rewarded by the bloodline and the fear that he has every time Roman's unhappy with him or Paul Heyman's kind of like, Roman might not be happy with you. It feels so innocent and in a good way, little kiddish. Like it's like palpable. Like when you were 8 years old and you were so excited about something. My heart's gonna break when the beatdown happens. The writing's on the wall for it. I'm gonna just be ruined in the best way by that moment. But for a storyline that felt so stale, the bloodline has been fantastic, and I really think a lot of that's on the back of Sami Zayn, Alex.
Yeah, I feel like, oh God, there's gonna be some great acting when this finally goes down. If you're not crying when this happens, you have no heart. You are cold. I'm telling you right now because I'm feeling it. I will be feeling it. I'm feeling it right now.
Feeling it. Feeling it in your heart.
Let's not talk about it because it just makes me sad, and I'm gonna be happy. Oh
my goodness! New year, new you.
That's right.
This was a whole bunch of fun. I can't wait to see. Since we're like building to Royal Rumble already too, it's kind of cool. Like we'll talk about it, but we have qualifier matches. We have Roman's match getting set up. So even though we don't have a pay-per-view, it still feels like things of stakes are happening, which is good. And this is one of the best, if not the best stories in wrestling, man. I'm excited for it. We also got a couple of quick segments here, but before we get to those, we have Santos, Escobar, and Kofi Kingston. And man, I could have watched this go another 10, 15 minutes. I wish they had given it a little more time, but Santos Escobar rules, and so does Kofi Kingston. And I hope that we get to see more of Legado presented right. I would love Angel Garza and Humberto. I think we're dropping last names now because, of course, Vince really is back, I guess. I would love to see them join because I think they offer something really special and could be great for Legado. And a way to get a one-up on some numbers because there's a lot of stables going around right now. But this match was a whole bunch of fun. Kofi takes the loss here on the Phantom Driver. I don't like champions losing, but they're not champions of this brand or the main roster right now. They're NXT champions. So it's not that bad. And I think it was a solid match, and Santos Escobar getting a win is a really, really good thing. The Trouble in Paradise in this match was fantastic. Santos Escobar rules. Like that Phantom Driver was so great. He's such a clean execution on everything he does in there. What did you think of this match?
Yeah, I love Santos Escobar, man. I need him. I need them to blow him up. I mean, like I've been saying this week after week. We need some type of like Hispanic representation other than Ray, right? The same old bag of tricks that WWE drags into. So let's start creating some new Latin stars. And I'll tell you what, you put him in the ring with someone like Kofi. Kofi's gonna make him a star because Kofi's excellent in the ring. And you put him Put him in next week with Xavier, because Xavier's also gonna make him look like a star. You know what I'm saying? Like, just continue feeding him these people that are able to like make these new up and comers really special. You know, like they used to do it all the time back in the day. At some point, something shifted where it's that type of thinking stopped. You know,
it feels like they viewed lucha wrestling as really fun and nothing else. Here's the thing. Lucha wrestling is really fun. It's also great wrestling and great storytelling, but it was like they were like, oh wow, look, acrobatic. That must mean ladder match spots and nothing else. Like, correct. It really kind of got one note. They signed Dragon Lee, as you can read about on Fightful. We didn't scoop that. They just kind of announced that in AAA after they gave Dragon Lee half of the tag championship. So that's a weird one. But hopefully we do see some more depth. I've said for a while that, like, I think Santos Escobar, because everybody compares a lot of, if you're cool and Hispanic and a heel, I feel like everyone's like, just like Eddie Guerrero. I feel like
that's the go-to for them every single time.
Every single time. I feel like Santos Escobar is kind of one of the closer comparisons for sure. For sure. And it's not because he has like a great Three Amigos or a Frog Split. Like, he has that same effortless, cool, heelish, whateverness. I feel like, I'm not Hispanic, I can't really say, like, as far as the representation.
This whole time I thought you were. Fuck.
I know, it's so, I mean, look at me.
Look at you. Wow.
I can't say for the representation piece of it. I can say for that guy's really cool and special piece of it. I feel like he's kind of close to Eddie in that regard. But nice to see him on television. I hope they start building Legado. There's something really great there, and I love Zelina's work too in the managerial role, especially. I think she's great. So we will see. But we move on to a couple of fun, quick backstages. But before that, we also have another couple birthday messages for Caden. Keep sending us money to wish Caden a happy birthday. I really like that. If we can make money off of Caden's birthday, looks good for me and for Caden. So Jam Beard saying happy birthday, Caden. Enjoy it while it lasts. Because when you turn 30, your body starts to crack like a glow stick without the glowing part. I just started my DDP yoga again, and I was telling someone that when I first started DDP yoga, it was because it's an incredible program that helps with tone and flexibility. I've never had like any flexibility at all. And this time around, I just want my body to stop creaking every time I turn my head. That's the goal. DDP is great for all of it. I'm not an affiliate. I'm just saying, but yeah.
Gets paid by DDP to say DDP.
That's right. Bang.
After DDP on a Friday night.
We got me, Normus, also saying happy birthday, Kate. And Kate, sup, partner? Oh, we get to talk about Eddie in a little bit. Hi, other Alex. I'm nervous about Vince resurfacing. I'm oozy about this whiskey. Cheers. Well, cheers to you, Meet Normus. I'm more excited for you that you get to have whiskey versus Vince coming back. I think we're all nervous. I think we're all nervous about what it means for the people that work there. You can read about that on Fightful Select. And I think we're nervous about what it means for the creative product direction. Hopefully he just sells it and gets the hell out of there, but I am pessimistic. We do move along to a Liv Morgan segment and an LA Knight interview back to back before our next match. Liv Morgan saying that she is entering the Royal Rumble and she's willing to go the distance if she has to, offering up that number 1 spot, which I think would be an interesting call for Liv. I feel like she's grown a lot in her title reigns. The 1 spot is a big responsibility to carry if you're not getting thrown out early. I don't think she should get thrown out early. So they'd have to be careful with agenting it because, man, before her solo run and her title run, she was kind of just like doing like 2 minutes of work in the Riot Squad. Like, she was not getting huge opportunities. And then they started to grow. But the 1 spot in Rumble is a heck of a haul. I'm interested to see what they choose to do with that, especially with this new found never say die, completely reckless style that she's kind of leaned into. So that should be interesting. And then we get this quick little LA Knight interview that I loved. I say week over week, and I still think it. LA Knight is the most tailor-made for WWE main roster worker there is. He says that he was walking in Memphis and kind of says that part of it sucked because Memphis is bad. And that Bray needs to keep his freaks in a line, which shocked me tremendously. I like him walking this line between being confident and cocky and not letting it show that he's creeped out about what's going on, but like we get these little hints of like kind of creeped out about what's going on here like when these things are happening. But LA Knight's a whole bunch of fun. I'm glad that we didn't get like another Bray Wyatt entrance and promo. Like some breathing room is good. Anything to say about this Liv and LA Knight, these interviews?
No, just they're kind of basic. I like that they're giving LA Knight all this time in front of the mic. You know, I still feel a little lost with the storyline between him and Bray and Uncle and Titi and all them cousins that are going to be coming out of the woodwork soon. But yeah,
it's a little bit of a weird one. But I always go back to, as long as it feels like they have a plan, I'm happy about it. I think the Bray Wyatt situation is a rough one if Vince re-enters. That scares me for his trajectory, and he might not want to be there if Vince is there. So that could get a little messy. But we do move along to Karrion, Kross, and Scarlett defeating Madcap, Moss, and Emma here. This was kind of a glorified squash match, but it's awesome to see Scarlett in action. She was such a big part of the act of Karrion Kross that a lot of people didn't even know she had ring ability. This was a 3-minute match. We didn't see a ton of it, but she certainly held her own. We got a cross hammer into the cross jacket for the win. Not a ton to write home about here. I guess when they had a lot of workers returned, I assumed it was going to be like, holy crap, these people returned and they were going to get pushes. But I think some people are there more, I guess, for this like eating losses mid-card role. And I guess Emma's one of them. I kind of was hoping that they would give her a little bit more love because I thought she did some really good work and Impact from what I saw. I know Paul Heyman was really high on Madcap Moss, Riddick Moss. But they've just been kind of eating a lot of losses here. I know that Karrion and Scarlett are a big push, right? So that nothing too surprising here. Any thoughts on the match itself?
No, it was nice to see Karrion on TV wrestling with wifey. Like I knew they would do elsewhere, but you know, but it's just like what happened? What the happened with these two? They had this big grand thing, and God, it's just I knew so much that was going on in the back end, and I was just like, I was excited for it. I was like, okay, I'm hearing these rumblings and things that were happening with someone else, and then they went to WWE, and I was like, okay, cool, maybe they're gonna do something cool there too. And it's just been as bland as vanilla.
Yeah, I think they didn't hit it out of the gate like they thought they were going to. And I think because of that, they kind of had to peel back, and now they're just refiguring it out. I actually it feels like they lost steam, but I like what they're doing now more because it's way more cohesive. So I feel like they kind of turned a corner with it, even though they took their foot off the gas. But booking's been all over the place anyway, so I'm hoping maybe with Royal Rumble, they kind of kick it back up. But Flame Inc. has a good question here. Odd Royal Rumble question. You can't get DQ'd. Why not bring a weapon, say a cattle prod, and win the Rumble? Perfect heel move, if you ask me. I think for the same reason that you can't just like bring a gun to an Iron Man match. Like
Wow.
I think there's just like you just kind of have to. That's just one of those weird things in wrestling that we have to accept, even though there's not a full rule in it. Is it full on no DQ? It is, right?
Yeah, and it's also pro wrestling. There is no making sense. So you can make sense in pro wrestling. So
no, but
unfortunately we're using logic.
They should follow their own rules, though. That is a good question. I think
I've seen in the past where people show up with weapons. Whether there were battle royals or whatever, maybe in the Royal Rumble I've seen someone show in with a chair, but you're right. I mean, you also got to contend with a bunch of other people. They might jump you and you'll lose your weapon. So, you know.
But they should do that spot then.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like, why not?
It's a good question and it makes sense, but that is one of those.
I think it'll happen this year when Eddie Kingston shows up as number 27.
Oh,
with a gas can. And a
came
flaming
back.
table.
Okay, now that part would rule, but I don't want. I don't know if anyone saw this interview. I'm sure some people did. But he talked about he had a WWE tryout, and I think they were more interested in bringing him on as a trainer. But
yeah, as a trainer, yeah.
they were like, cut a promo, Eddie, or whatever. And he was like, where I come from, they believe in Tupac more than Santa Claus. And they thought that was like the edgiest thing they ever heard. And he was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not meant to work here. If that was like edgy to you.
Why?
It's like
So
he is
funny.
saying that Santa Claus doesn't real and they have a PG product, I guess. Like that is that is Jim Beard saying that people have brought weapons into Rumbles before. I think during the Rumble with Drew Carey, I think Drew brought a trash can full of stuff. Yeah, that's a good shout. I try not to really like remember that Drew Carey was in the Royal Rumble too much. No offense to him. I just think
the guys from Jackass.
We move along. We have so much wrestling to get through, and it sickens me. But we move along to something that I gotta have mixed feelings about. By the way, after the Scarlett, Kross, and Emma Madcap match, we get kind of a semblance of they're coming back for Rey Mysterio, which I like that with the tarot cards and like they're kind of continuing a full through line. But we have the Charlotte Flair promo with Sonya Deville. And this was a good use of Sonya Deville. I want a better use for Sonya Deville. But tonight, what we saw was a pretty good call. Charlotte kind of gives the John Cena promo. She says, I'm back. I'm excited to be back. I appreciate you. Some of you cheer me. Some of you boo me. Some of you woo me. And Sonya basically says, oh, congratulations on your title when you beat up a half-dead Ronda Rousey. That's not really something to be proud of. Why don't you defend your title right here, right now? And Charlotte does. She wins with the figure 8 in a decent enough match. I think Sonya is a good worker for this spot. I also feel like Sonya Deville should have something more productive to do on the show. I think she's great. I think she's been so good with whatever they've given her. And her taking over Toxic Attraction where Mandy Rose left off, I think would be a really, really, really good call. But she just deserves to be in a storyline. I think she's great. Before they made it seem like she was racist, she was knocking the stuff with Naomi out of the park. Her feud with Mandy when she was trying to maim her face was awesome. One of the few really, really great things during the pandemic that I feel like they pulled off. I really like her. There was a lot of whoop that trick references. I feel very weird saying that as the whitest girl ever. But this was a good use of television time. It was a good use of Sonya for Charlotte out of the gate. I just feel like going into the more important season of wrestling for WWE, hopefully they use Sonya Deville a little bit better. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I would like you. I didn't really like it. Didn't I don't know. It was just I thought that it was just kind of like a way to bring Charlotte back and back into the Friday night rotation.
That was it for me. Fine. Yeah, I don't think it needed to be.
No, it didn't. I think I would have been okay if it was just a promo of her kind of like talking and setting up her next feud with someone, But, a match is fine too.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a fighting champion, and Charlotte has such a high work rate, and Ronda didn't look so great in her reign. It's nice to have like, hi, I'm the champion, I can work, be kind of like a nice statement out of the gate. I think that is a really, really good call. So I will take it, and we will also take your super chats, your humper chats, your Twitch bits if you want to show us your biddies on twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. We'll take your Fightful Select money too, darn it, while we're at it.
Yeah.
Things were tame there for a little bit, and then Mandy Rose got all sexy, and now Vince McMahon is back, and Wrestle Kingdom's bringing people from New Japan back to WWE, maybe, if their deals are up. Subscribe to Fightful Select and read all about all of that. And, my gosh, I didn't even say Mercedes Varnado was showing up, right? So get on that Fightful Select stuff.
Wrestling is getting hot again.
Matthew Plus, like a coworker just learned about you. I have regrets. Have that coworker hit me up. I have so much to tell them about you, Matthew. Plus, I have screenshots of things you've said on the show and the way that you treat the SGS, which now you're going to have to explain to that coworker what weird cult you're a part of. So welcome to that. The way you treat lovely gals who are just out here trying to make an honest living. Have her hit me up, whoever it is, or him. I don't know what you're up to at work, Matthew.
Wow.
Plus. But also, if you're doing work at 1 a.m. on a Saturday, God bless you. So we'll move along.
We're working.
We are working. We're working hard, damn it. We get another Lacey vignette. Yeehaw. This one isn't so bad, and in my opinion, it didn't feel as overkill. It just was like, it was kind of like they were using her military experience as a framework around pro wrestling, which didn't feel so bad to me. I just am kind of over it, and unless she's gotten like a lot better in the ring in the past few months, this just feels like another reboot where she's not going to be doing a ton in the ring, and then we're going to get a woman's right and la-di-da. I know you've been a huge fan of all of this with Lacey Evans. What are your thoughts on this?
I know we had a Rumble qualifying match with Ricochet.
We sure did have a Royal Rumble qualifying match with Ricochet and Top Dollar. After your extensive thoughts and analysis, we will move on to that. We got 3 shows to get to tonight. I'm not mad that you want to move on quick. Ricochet defeats Top Dollar here. They talk about his botch. Kudos to Top Dollar for owning it. He was like, yeah, I screwed up. It was funny. La-di-da. But I do like what they did here. I think they knew Hit Row wasn't looking all that strong, and they had a really, really strong beatdown segment after. It actually looked and felt kind of malicious. Ricochet wins with a standing sliced bread and a shooting star press to finish him off here. And then, of course, not my favorite thing in the world, but Braun comes down to save him. I have less of a problem with it because Ricochet went out to save Braun last week. So it's even. That's not always the big guy coming in to save the little dude. But that's a good thing. I don't have an interest in like a Hit Row Ricochet Braun Strowman tag program, however. But this was fine. I'm glad Ricochet won. Ricochet should be in the Royal Rumble. He should be Final 4, I think, would be a really fun spot for him if there's not like a huge overarching Bloodline story that needs it, or at least kind of in like the longer lasting ones. He has the stamina for it, and he's so exciting in the ring. Any thoughts on this match and the angle that came out of it here?
No, I mean, I kind of knew obviously Ricochet was going to go in. I had no idea that, they were going to have Hit Row turn, but Hit Row's been such a miss since they've been back on the roster that even this little heel turn, it's okay. But when you have Braun Strowman come out doing the roar thing again, okay, cool. What is this leading to? 2 big dudes fighting each other, and then that's it. Like, I'll wait it out. Oh boy, here we go.
So Alex Pulowski say who is ready for babyface Charlotte versus Lacey Evans at WrestleMania 39. He will quit Sour Graps if Saudi Arabia buys WWE. I will quit Sour Graps if we get that.
Jeez.
I will not. This actually isn't a bad idea. Not sure if he's still alive. He is. Team Evans up with Sergeant Slaughter as her manager. I think this would be good thoughts.
I'll be honest. Yeah,
that would have been good 3 iterations ago. I think it's tough now. Sergeant Slaughter would have been a great pull then. Maybe it would work now. I think it's just hard to keep shoving. They've rebooted her 3 times with the same idea is the problem, right? Like, that's it to me, I guess.
Yeah, and I think also if she was in AEW, they would have done that because AEW does an insane job of bringing in veterans to kind of like lead talent. You've seen it with Darby and his dad Sting. You've seen it with Lance Hoyt. Am I saying that right?
Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer.
Yep. Yeah, Lance Archer. Yeah, and his dad, Jake the Snake. So like you've seen all these things. I call them all their dads. Nyla Rose and Vicky. So you see these great pairings happening in AEW. It would have been great to see him like kind of bring her into the fold. She should never say a word and let him do everything.
See, I don't even
Maggot.
think it's like that she's that bad on the mic or anything. It would have been clarity. It would have been clarity. That's for sure.
She had Ric Flair on her for a minute.
Lacey Evans should be managed by
Rudy.
I read that because you paid money for me to say it. I will not comment on it. Jam Beer giving his thoughts though. Matt, no. Legend Stokely, Legend Smart Mark. So many great managers over there in AEW. But we'll move right along. We got a nice Gunther vignette. I love the rise of Gunther, man. Like, I think Walter was a little bit cooler, but mostly because he was fighting people like Butch Pete Dunne and Ilya Dragunov. So that was just really cool work rate stuff. They're making it work on the main roster with Gunther. I think you're going to see some really cool infighting with Imperium. I don't know if that is this WrestleMania season or maybe further down the line, but when there's 3 people there, that makes it super interesting. I remember Alex Pulowski on Sour Grapes building out this really incredible idea, and he was just saying, like, 3 people is so much better than 2. Like, you had Ludwig Kaiser and Gunther, and it's kind of like, okay, if he chops Ludwig Kaiser to death, no one else is going to care. If you have someone who's like, what's going on? Things get a little more interesting, right? So great vignette. Great to see the mid-card mattering. Great to see Gunther feeling like the threat that he's capable of being. Any thoughts on the vignette?
No, just I want to see more action out of them. I don't know why. I really like the way their presentation, the way they come out to the ring and beat people up. I like to see them move them further up the card too. You know, I don't know what they're doing with these damn freaking championship belts in the next couple months here, but
Gunther's had some really good defenses, right?
Yes,
like Sheamus was match of the year potentially. The Ricochet match that we just saw was really, really good.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to see him more in the ring. Like I want to see him out there beating the crap out of people. Like he's nasty. I love the whole like attitude. I know that it's a little edgy because you kind of look at them, and honestly, I'm saying in this because I've seen people as kind of like they're German dudes. We know history. We know
German U-boat captains.
Yes. Yeah.
They tried to name him after one. Yeah. Henry the Casey. That's what the T stands for. Other Alex decided. So I love it. Worst scenario for Lacey. USA push with Cody. They won't do that. I don't think. Not because they're not silly enough to do that, but because I think Cody's return was the best moment that they had last year. Maybe right up there with Sheamus might be right up there with it. Actually, I can't even say that. Match-wise, that might have been match of the year. Cody's return moment at Mania was probably the most productive thing that they did as a company. So I don't think they tinker with it. I didn't catch this, but a couple people pointed this out. Did Alex just say that Lacey had Ric Flair on her?
I threw it out there. I was trying to be cheeky, but
Look, Ric Flair is an old dude, okay? He's
not in a bad way. I was like, hey, didn't they have like the affair and she was pregnant with his baby at one point?
Yeah, they've done some weird stuff with Ric Flair. They had him kiss Becky Lynch, I remember. But like Ric Flair at his age, he needed a little help getting through a match. I can't even imagine what kind of help he would need in bed. But I do know that there's help out there, Alex. I do know there are resources available. And sometimes it's like 1 a.m. Eastern. I just wish that Sean Ross Sapp was here to tell us more about it.
NordVPN.com/Fightful makes my browsing experience better. Way better than yours if you don't use it. Why? Because I can block online trackers. The nights are getting longer, but that breeze isn't the only thing that's getting stiff. That's right. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. We all know that confidence can take you far in life. That's especially true in the bedroom, especially when it's time to step up to the plate. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers. Once you're approved, you'll receive the prescription in days. No doctor's office, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. The packages arrive discreetly, but your package will not be discreet at all. We got a special deal for you. Get Blue Chew free when you use our promo code FIGHTFUL at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That hush money for the mailman. I mean, honestly, he's not going to know what he's bringing you, but word's going to get around town, I'm sure. BlueChew.com, promo code FIGHTFUL. Get your first shipment free. What do you have to lose?
Here's all the ways that I'm fired. Do you want to hear all the ways I would fire myself? Ready? Not really, but like sort of. Not only did I pull up NordVPN instead of Blue Chew, but I pulled up an ad read that said that the nights were getting longer and now we're on the other side of the solstice, so that was wrong. And I pulled up an ad where Sean just casually mentions hush money.
Wow.
There's like 8 variations of the thing that I could have pulled up. Not labeled according to that specifically, but man, like what a whew, man. And what's funny is I have to play a Nord ad later, and now it's just gonna feel like so much more pressure around it, man. I don't know.
It's been a long night.
It's 1:05 in the morning. We're through, not even through one of the shows yet, but Jam Beard saying I wouldn't be surprised if WWE had Cody Express beating Gunther for the IC title because America wins. I think you want him to come back in a more prominent spot than that, but I also don't hate that angle because of all the work his dad did, right? Like there's a huge story there with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and the IC title, and the fact that Cody's dad made that title. And if you want to do an America versus Europe thing, right? Like, I think you can do that in a tasteful way with the two of them because of where Cody's legacy started well before him, right? So, but I don't think that's where he comes back. I think he's got to be in that world title picture, but good stuff with Gunther. Love seeing him. We've got a promo with Drew and Sheamus earlier in the night that I'm just loving. We're showing clavicle on this show. Sheamus is out there calling themselves the Bang Bros. Just phenomenal stuff. We also find out that the Viking Raiders, thank you, Luis, for always doing a great job. Viking Raiders attack the Bang Bros on a digital exclusive after this match, but this match I thought was really, really good. I liked the promo that we got earlier. They're kind of alluding to their history as enemies, talking about the fact that they didn't know they were going to make it here. They didn't know they were going to be able to repair their friendship and ever tag again because of all the tension that they've had. And then they kind of start chanting banger after banger at Jerry Lawler's bar. This is all taking place. They both legitimately live in Tennessee, I think in the Nashville area, which is kind of fun here. But I have really, really liked this match. We get some fun stuff happening at the end, man. Sheamus survives the 1D, and I don't like roll-up finishes, but this one was not the worst. There's a dive that takes out the Usos, and Sheamus, I think, throws Jay back in the ring, only for Jay to roll him up, and Jimmy kind of assists him in the process. So what I liked about that roll-up was it looked like they were capitalizing on an opportunity to try and win the match. Like that kind of roll up, I have a little bit more forgiveness because it looks opportunistic instead of lazy. But this match was a whole lot of fun. Like Sheamus and Drew are big guys. They shouldn't be able to do like flip dives off the apron and stuff, followed up by a big boot by Drew, right? The physicality here was an absolute blast. I thought this was a really good way to have the Usos, first of all, win because they just have the Usos lose so much on TV for some reason. And it kind of justified the other Bloodline story that we had going on. And this doesn't really hurt Sheamus and Drew anyway. I thought this was a hell of a fun way to go home. What did you think of the way we closed out SmackDown tonight?
Yeah, I think, it's pairing these two together with the history that they've had is kind of fun. And just, they want to beat the hell out of everyone. I that's always fun. They're two big dudes that could put on a great show. They're super athletic. I've said this about both of them, even though I don't like a lot of the promos that Drew does. But it is what it is, and see where it goes down the line. And that whole Viking Raider thing afterwards, I think that's cool too. That they're utilizing, doing little things outside of the television spectrum to kind of like add to storylines and whatever. Because that's another team that's been lost, the Viking Raiders. So
yeah, they kind of came back with a big deal, and then they and Legato lost to Hit Row, which was a little bit weird. I agree. I like adding layers on social media. I don't like advancing stories without it because you're assuming your audience is going to see it. But kind of like flavoring things like that, I think, is a really good use of time. I thought it was a fun way to go home. I'm still in the camp. I loved the eating popcorn backstage was hilarious. Everything Sammy does is so great. Like for a while there, it was a let's try and break the bloodline in a segment of laughter challenge. Like whenever he was on the bump or whatever, talking about like we all go to Waffle House and stuff. Like I love it. I love that stuff so much. But this was a whole bunch of fun. And Sheamus kicking out of the 1D made they looked strong in defeat. So
yes.
So I appreciated that. And heck, I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you so much. I know it's late on East Coast time. We still have like hundreds of people watching
matches left too.
The Twitter. We got hundreds of matches to review as well. But we've got good stuff to talk about with AEW. Not a ton of movement as far as like storyline stuff goes or anything of major significance, but some really, really fun in-ring on both Rampage and Battle of the Belts, I thought. What were your overall thoughts of both hours that AEW put on tonight?
Strong. Crowd was crazy. If you have a strong crowd, the show seems spectacular. We never see title changes, so it's just you knew what we were going into. But extremely entertaining. The match was really well. I wish Jade would do what that transition she did to Sky Blue. She would do it to me because that was pretty awesome.
You and all the other guys in the game.
Man. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yeah, both shows were good.
So Friday nights is me and Alex, and sometimes when Alex is out, other people. Sean will come back on major things like John Cena. But tonight, Sean's not here because he just wanted a weekend off, and it's going to be a very quiet news weekend. It looks like I don't think anything of any like major consequences going on in wrestling right now. I don't think Sasha Banks showing up somewhere else is a big deal, or the Vince news is pretty insignificant. But Matthew Plus saying that's why the show seems unspectacular. Our show that Alex and I do is spectacular. So I'm assuming that you are in reference to the AEW shows because I'm spectacular. Alex is spectacular.
She's super spectacular, guys.
We're double spectacular.
I love your sweater, by the way. I wish I could sneak into it and take it.
A straight up Snuggie that was sent to me by a friend. When we started at 12:15, I was like, I'm going to be cozy for this shit. So
yeah, might as well. I got my blankie right here.
I love this. Did you read the CM Punk news? Of course I did. I'm all over the CM Punk news. I love that guy. I miss him. We have some humper chats to get us started into this conversation. I think we already read this one about the crowd, but you commented on it. The crowd was absolutely fire tonight and has been of late. Broadway Joe saying, think LA show can beat Raw in the ratings next week or come close. AEW has a lot of good momentum. They do. Sometimes that good momentum is with the hardcore fans and not people that tune in sporadically. So I don't know. I think it's a very interesting side of the business. I don't particularly care. I care if there's awesome wrestling on my TV. I am fascinated by it. But when they're putting on shows like they did on Wednesday, I don't
well, this isn't. People are so enamored and like into freaking the analytics of like, oh my god, how many viewers watched this week? You do understand this is not 1997 anymore. The spectrum of the way we watch television has changed. I am either watching TV on my phone or watching it 10 days later because it's recorded or somewhere, on an app like WWE puts it on Hulu. 24 hours later. You know, like
it's also just funny because people use the million mark as like life or death, where it's like they could draw 999,000 and they'd be like, it's a massive failure that week. So don't outmark yourself. The question itself, though, was not like aggressively marky or annoying. It is an interesting question because they're making a huge push toward it. A lot of people think Mercedes Varnado is showing up. That would definitely draw some viewers. Some people are thinking it smells like CM Punk might be returning. I don't think they're. I think you have him come back at Revolution if he can. But man, FTR's losing belts left and right. There's a perfect trios place for him to walk back in. Whew. I can't even get my hopes up in that way because I just think
Tony Khan would be printing money. Dude, that's all I gotta say.
A heel Punk coming back with FTR as a trio for 6 months worth of matches with the Elite.
Best out of 100.
If that was happening the same time that like Sami Zayn was getting beat down and him and Kevin Owens were becoming best friends again, I would not be able. You're going to see a very interesting version of Kate on Friday nights because I'll just be losing my mind. But
I'm so here for that.
Oh God, it would be so much fun. But I always say this: big of a CM Punk mark as I am, everybody deserves to feel safe and happy at work. So that needs to happen first and foremost. Speaking of first and foremost, oh boy, did we kick off Rampage with a banger. These live Rampage tapings always have a little extra kick in the butt to them. And the Blackpool Combat Club versus Top Flight was one of those. We saw Top Flight win that super fun trios rumble, the $100,000 or $300,000 We Three Kings Pan Am Celebrity Fun Run for the Cure. If you're an Office fan, is what I was calling it. Super long name, but that's part of how we got to this, which I thought was really fun. Ultimately, we see Bryan Danielson stomping on the face of Darius and submitting him to sleep. And this match was a blast. I don't have a ton of spots to call back on it because just go watch the whole match. I love it, love it, love it. Super fun collision of styles. Getting to see Bryan Danielson wrestle on a regular basis again because he's heading into this thing with MJF, which super fun stipulation too. I love that they laid it out of like, hey, no, you have to win to earn a title shot. Is super great. I thought this was a great opener. A lot of fun stuff here. Darius and Dante are incredible, and styles make matchups. This was a perfect example of that, Alex.
Great back and forth. I mean, damn, they look like they were beating their crap. And I'll tell you what, man, John Moxley and Danielson, they going hard, man. Danielson's like whole style changed when he joined the BCCCCC. You know, like it was, he just became this insane.
The Blackpool Combat Club Community Center. Yeah.
Yes. He became this insane freaking pit fighter. He reminds me of like I mean, like so cool, but yeah.
And he's always been an ass kicker, but you're right. Like this extra violent laying your stuff in, especially against a team as acrobatic as Top Flight, is so much fun. So much fun. Matthew Plus says, LOL, Katie working herself. I fully admit I'm working myself with the CM Punk thing, though. But it's what I'm saying. You could say it humped. It did hump. This was a super fun way to open up Rampage. I love it when they start with tags or trios matches, too, just because that style of wrestling is a really fun way to open a show, in my opinion. But we move along to a rather interesting promo, in my opinion, by Hangman, who says that he has his clearance documents from his doctor, and that he is going to basically knock out Moxley, and they're going to record it so that his kind of like dorky Blackpool Combat Club can go back and watch it along with MMA footage while they're watching porn. Should have saved my Blue Chew read for that, I guess. But an interesting direction I thought this was going to go with. I'm going to knock you out so you can't remember your own baby's name. And he was like, no, you're going to watch this while you're watching MMA and porn.
Nothing wrong with a little corn.
Nothing wrong with corn. No. Corn. This is the perfect Blue Chew segue. I already played it. I screwed it up. playing NordVPN. So here's what we're going to do. This isn't the perfect segue to NordVPN, but I owe them. I owe them a make good. I owe NordVPN a special spot on the show that is all their own, and I'm going to give them that right here. And you know what? If you are watching your MMA andro porn, you might not want people seeing it, and you might not want to be paying full price for the MMA side of it. So it is actually very, very relevant. And we're going to learn all about NordVPN. And I'm going to play the right ad this time, right now.
You don't want to get hit with a powerbomb symphony, do you? Not from your internet service, not from your browsing experience. Nordlow is here to help. That's nordvpn.com/Fightful. It's going to squash the competition with the fastest VPN in the world. Change your virtual location with just one click. No matter where you are, you get access to whatever content that you want. Thanks to nordvpn.com/Fightful. 30-day money-back guarantee. 4 additional months free. Block annoying pop-up ads. Block malware. Block online trackers. 3 great tiers, whether you want to pass, a VPN, a locker, or all 3. Browse safely and securely. All this with one app. You can control up to 6 devices with one subscription. How can you pass on this deal? You're going to end up saving money because of this, especially if you buy those UFC pay-per-views. Let me tell you, nordvpn.com/Fightful helps you there too. Check it out.
Get your Nord. Cover your corn.
There it is. Get your Nord, cover up that corn, that cornography. That's what it is. And hey, darn it, when you're saving all that money with NordVPN, go spend it at Fightful Select. Not only will you get all the breaking news that we already told you about, Mandy Rose stuff, Mercedes Renato stuff, Vince McMahon stuff, you're also going to get bonus episodes. You're going to get Sean Ross Sapp Q&As, which when the wrestling news cycle picks up this much, there's stuff that's going to fall through the cracks you want to hear about. Head over to those Q&As. You're going to get plenty of bonus shows, including myself and Alex Pulowski on pay-per-view post shows. We've got a little bit until those kick back in. We kind of got a lot of January off, which I'm excited about. So plenty of reasons to subscribe over at Fightful Select. Orion Ben saying, Renee Hangman said, what about my kid? Yep. This was fun though. In general, I've been liking these Hangman promos in this feud a lot. Like, I feel like he's been finding really like human aspects to tap into kind of ever since that I'm tired, the meds aren't working, but I'm still here promo. I feel like something extra has clicked in with him for me as a fan. I've really liked it. But we move along to Britt and Jamie, the Killer and the Pillar versus the Renegade Twins. The Renegade Twins have made some appearances before. They've been on Dark. They're a big part of Thunder Rosa's promotion. Great to see them in action here. This was a really, really fun match, considering it was 2 like jabbers or whatever you want to call them. But we get kind of this cool knee breaker, low lariat into the stomp combination for the win, which they've presented a lot. I think soon enough we start building to Jamie Hayter probably versus Britt Baker at Revolution. I'm hoping that comes along in a little bit, but these tag matches are a great way to get both of them on screen. Britt's not near the championship, but is near the championship, right? Kind of aligned with it. And it's a good way to cycle talent, right? Every time you get 2 women on the screen, you're getting 4 women on the screen. And I thought the match was really strong considering it was kind of a throwaway. Britt's looked really, really good in the ring, and her and Jamie Hayter, I feel like, work really, really well together. And Jamie's just a brawler, man. She's kicking some butt out there on this title run. It's a bunch of fun to watch. And a little bit of an offset from Britt. Like, Britt's good and she lays in, but Jamie lays in. Yeah. What did you think of this match?
Jamie's so over.
My God, the crowd.
You're talking about too. Like Britt came out like, yay. Jamie came out, was like, we're going ape shit for her. And it was insane. It was such a good. I continue to say the crowd was so hot, but yeah, it was Jamie Hayter. Her brawling style works so well for her, and that championship fits so well on her. And she looks like a champion. She acts like a champion. She talks like a champion right now. I love everything that she's doing, and I'm so happy that they have the belt on her.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. And to your point, yeah, that music hits and the fans go crazy for her. I've had the criticism, and I think a lot of people have with Tony Khan, that he doesn't really pull the trigger when someone's hot. Like he's kind of maybe overly married to his long-term booking. He didn't do that with Jamie Hayter. He put her over Tony Storm, who ended up being injured anyway. So ended up being an okay decision there for sure. But I think it's paying off dividends. I think we're seeing Jamie Hayter get made even more in front of our eyes week over week. But we do have an interesting super chat here from Sean Garner, who says, my guess is that Mercedes won't be Saraya's partner on Wednesday. Do you guys think she shows up? I sure do. I sure think she is taking out Toni Storm before this match. And I think Saraya does call on Mercedes Varnado. If not that, maybe Sheeta shows up with Mercedes. I've seen that as an angle too. And I really like that of Sheeta's pissed off that Saraya chose Toni Storm. And she says, now this is a tag triple threat. And guess who my partner is? Mercedes Varnado. Because Mercedes showed up as heel in New Japan, I don't know if you can keep her heel. And I think the long-term game plan is she dethrones Jade. If you haven't noticed, like those title defenses are suddenly picking up to 50-0. And I think that bitch show becomes that boss show pretty quick here. And I feel like that's perfect. I think that's a perfect idea. I'd rather it be Statlander, but she's injured. So what are you going to do? But what are your thoughts about, is Mercedes showing up? How is she showing up? What do you think?
Man, it's so hard because if she is, they're not playing that card. They're not showing anything, right? They're not even letting you peek to see if she's actually going to show up or not. I mean, say the wrestlers say things all the time, but like, I don't know, man. What if it's Trinity Fatu? What if she's the new baddie? What is it? Why won't she come out and now be like, like, what can it be her? I don't know. Like,
I mean, Britt did say I'm the boss and wink into the camera if it's not her.
But that's too tongue in cheek. Like,
I feel like that's exactly what they did with CM Punk. They had Darby Allin go out there and say, even if you're the best in the world, right? And if you were subscribed to Fightful Select, you might have read about how there was a promo that was supposed to make it obvious. So I don't know. I don't know if maybe this is all for her to just show up at Revolution. I don't know. But maybe, I think she's showing up. I think it's almost malpractice at this point if she doesn't.
Man, that crowd will lose its shit if she shows up in AEW. And I told you this before when we first heard rumblings that she wasn't going back to WWE. I said if she shows up in AEW, I now give AEW one tick above WWE in the sense of them building a stacked female roster. And the storylines have now done a complete turn. They're so good on the AEW side. And it'll help out that roster. And it'll help out what they're doing over there. So, I don't know, man. Things are looking good, man. They're flipping and flopping now with McMahon going back. Now they're in turmoil. And AEW is now friggin' picking up steam.
Pendulum. It's a pendulum. And that's the good thing about competition. But I don't think Britt goes out of her way to say that if she's not showing up at some point. Because I believe you. That's just bad. But
I don't think she'll play with the fans.
I also I think she'll play with the fans. I think that's the wrong way to do it. But I'm also just very excited for the idea of Sheeta versus Toni Storm anyway. So, but I also think there's the real life thing of Saraya's injury coming from Sasha Banks, right? Or the re-injury of it coming from Sasha Banks. So if they can do that. And Mercedes Varnado said she's going on a world domination tour. Her first Stardom match is also in California. There are a lot of things that line up there. It's going to be very interesting. So if it's not, they should have announced it 3 weeks ago. That was really dumb. I do think it's possible that she shows up and doesn't wrestle for a few reasons. One, we heard reports that there were denials from people that she was in the match. There weren't denials that she was showing up. And I think it's also very possible Stardom / New Japan was like, no, the first time she wrestles is going to be under our name, which I think is fair. So maybe she shows up, she sets up her match for Revolution, maybe wrestles for Stardom and then goes there or whatever. So, but we'll see. We will see.
Interesting.
But this match tonight was awesome. It was a hard hitter, that's for sure. I think we're seeing that in a lot of Jamie Hayter matches are going to be hard hitting ones, and I'm here for it. So we got a fun through line here with House of Black and Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. We get later on Battle of the Belts, but I'm going to tie them together now. I loved this from Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, Brody King, and Julia Hart, of course. But Malachi Black saying that he kind of misses crazy ass violent crazy Eddie. I think we all do. Very interesting turn here where Julia Hart says we're here to help. I think they're kind of implying that they're going to expose that Ortiz was never really his friend. Maybe they're saying that they're going to beat him down so bad it's going to build him back up in a way or open his eyes in a way. I'm here for it. I am a little bit venturing into Bray Wyatt territory of like, holy cow, we get these very highly produced vignettes. I just want to see you kick people's butts because Malachi's so good in the ring. But this is a little bit more grounded in that he was kind of speaking directly in plain English to Eddie Kingston here. What did you think of this vignette?
Yeah, I hope something really cool comes from it because they kind of started doing this with Miro and it went nowhere. So I hope that with Eddie, who is crazy, by the way, this really goes somewhere fun because I have a feeling that you give the ball to Eddie in this storyline and he is going to slam dunk. And, you know, I don't know what they'll do with Ortiz, but yeah, maybe turn on him. I don't know.
I think it could get really interesting. I feel like Ortiz could go either way with it. I think you're right in that it's a very interesting story because Eddie's the kind of guy that's going to call you out on your spooky BS.
Yeah.
But he's also the same kind of guy who's going to get mist in his face and sell it and be mad about it. So I love that. I think that could be really great. And then later on Battle of the Belts, we see Eddie Kingston and Ortiz talking, and they basically say, all right, we're going to test this loyalty, this partnership against House of Black coming up. So I love that. I think that'll be a really, really fun match. And you know me, I love Eddie Kingston promos. I love his delivery. It all just feels super fun and authentic. But we shall move along to Perro Peligroso.
Perro Peligroso.
See, it's so good to have you back to say things. Sounds so much prettier. I kind of feel like that's a little bit weird of a name. I kind of like Preston Vance.
What happened? When did he join the Latin faction? I just love what they're doing with this.
I love the story. I love the story for sure. He defeats Sonico, I think is his name. He's an indie standout. I really liked the build of him, man. I loved him. When he kind of said about -1, nobody should have to go through what that kid went through, but he's a spoiled brat now. I thought that was like perfect heel work. I thought it was pitch perfect. This isn't a match. He wins in 40 seconds with the Masked Phantom. Like this was a super squash, but very excited to see this rolling down the hill and was very excited to see this main event. Was kind of surprised when I saw who was announced for it in a good way. Rerun chiming with a humper chat. Thank you so much for your support. Saying, great AEW shows with another awesome West Coast crowd. Bennett Darby was a really nice surprise. This was a nice surprise in the way the match was made. This was a nice surprise in how it was agented, in my opinion, as far as the way that the interference was executed. And it was a nice surprise because I thought it was going to be a good match, and it blew my expectations out of the water. Darby wins with the coffin drop, but before that, we get Maria interfering to cover her husband as Darby setting up for the first coffin drop. Darby doesn't really give a crap. He's going to lay one in on Maria, which is awesome. He tries to go to the top rope for it, but eats an enziguri from Matt Taven. There's a really nice spot in here where Bennett goes for, I'm not sure what he was setting up, but it gets countered into the pads for an Avalanche Code Red, which is just the coolest move. Darby has such a fun move set. Winning with the coffin drop here, but in a match that was logically and well put together with interference and a match where the work rate was very high. I'm a big Mike Bennett fan for a lot of reasons. I think he seems like one of the just most authentic, genuine dudes in the world. I'm a fan of his in-ring smarts. this showcased his in-ring ability in a way that I think a lot of people might have not been familiar with, Alex.
Yeah, Darby is Darby's taking the reins and showing you that you can put the company on his back, right? And you put him in there with someone like Mike Bennett, who we know could work. We've seen his stuff in the past. We know what he can do in the ring, and there was some moves there that they were doing outside of the ring when he did the Russian leg sweep off the side of the ring onto the ground. I was like, holy crap! I didn't think Bennett had it in him to do something like that, because you're landing without bracing yourself. You two are just going backwards and just landing. I know there's padding, but dude, come on now. We know that shit still hurts.
Yeah. I always say scripted and not fake because of bumps like this. Yeah.
Yes. So also side note, did Darby change the TNT title?
I actually didn't notice.
Does it look like he went back to the more rounded title where it's like the round with the TNT? Because I know they
I wonder if it was the title from his first run, because they do that with this title. They change it up every time, so maybe they just it's possible they just reverted to it. But I did not actually notice. I also loved that he didn't ride his skateboard down at the beginning of the match.
Yeah, he played the whole like I just had a match, couple hours
against Samoa Joe.
Yeah, he limped. He played the card very well every time that he was being thrown out of the ring or he missed a spot. You can tell he was clutching something, or like, damn, the man does everything right. That's all I gotta say. For someone who's 175 pounds wet, right? Someone who's been told he was never gonna make it in this business, he is this business, and you can tell by the way the crowd. I mean, Wednesday and tonight. Jesus, that riff din 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 of his song comes on and the Titantron lights up, people go wild for him.
Yeah, it's he has a really special connection with the crowd, and I'm glad they let it happen because he's also someone that I think could make a super compelling heel, and they've just let that burn until they decide to, because he's still super over, so ride it out. I'm in the camp that Orange Cassidy could make a great heel, because I think an apathetic dickhead is a really, really fun potential heel character. Not right now. Does not need to happen today or tomorrow. So I am in on it. No offense, Kate, but your pronunciations have been pretty bad. Never seen Sonico. In my life.
It's all right. It's Sonico.
From
he's
upstate
Sonic.
New York.
She's not from the Bronx.
Even pretending I know. I took Spanish in high school, and I was good at 2 years of it, and 3 and 4 I was terrible at. So
she has me now. She doesn't need to be Hispanic. She inserted Hispanic into the show.
I'm gonna bring this up on the Sasha, Shida, Tony thing.
Ooh,
if Shida had attacked Tony to close Dynamite, with Shivani going off the air saying, "Oh, look, Saraya needs a new partner for next week. Who should she pick for this big money match?" That's, I think, the WWE way to do it.
Yeah.
I think the AEW way to do it is we're either going to see the attack early on Wednesday, or there's just, I don't think they're going to tell us that much.
No, Sheeta's jealous, and it's gonna come out. You can tell when she was sitting on the chair, like she was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not good enough, bitch. We'll see what's gonna happen now."
And I think Saraya was almost cartoonish in the way that she was like, "Tony Storm, I pick you." Like,
and you're like, "Oh my god, patty cake, patty cake."
Yeah, like, and Renee's reaction was incredible.
Yeah, she was like, "What the hell?"
The Pro Wrestling Podcast says, "Hey guys, here's $2 because why not?" Well, thank you. Why not? Because you could have gone to the Dollar Tree and bought 2 things with that, but you decided to give it to us. You could have bought
a ham and some mashed potatoes at the Dollar Tree and made dinner.
There you go. We appreciate it. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the Pro Wrestling Podcast, or don't, because I'm going to just give you a free shout. I believe it was the Pro Wrestling Podcast that CM Punk commented on the post of, when they had said, like, "Hey, man, just work it out with the Elite." And he said, duh. Which kind of kickstarted some fun stuff in the press. So congratulations on that. Sneaky little comment in there. If that was you guys, I believe it was. And just in general, you're very supportive of Fightful. So we appreciate it. GM Beard saying, "Don't ask me why, but I want Darby versus OC in a champ versus champ match because I think their different styles will work greatly with each other. I don't have to ask you why. That's a great reason why. I think that would be a really fun match. I think Darby's matches are getting better. I think Orange Cassidy's matches have gotten better since he came back from injury about not being agented the same way, where they're not always fighting from underneath. Orange Cassidy isn't just doing like kicks and then, oh my God, he turns on the gas. Like things have gotten a lot better put together in the way they go about things. I think that match would be super fun. I do feel like maybe Miro comes back and eats Darby for breakfast and takes his title.
Yo. My God.
What's interesting too is everybody's where's Miro? He could come back into this Orange Cassidy Kip Sabian feud and take that title. He could come and eat Darby for breakfast. There's a lot of places Miro could come back if they want him to. Would be interesting. Orion Ben saying Kate is right though. Of course I am. We saw a bit of heel OC tonight. We're seeing little flavors of it. I kind of always thought it, and then I heard Orange Cassidy on Colt Cabana's podcast, and he was kind of razzing him, but in character, and I was like, this would be... I always had a hunch, because apathy is a great heel device, but when I heard him acting that way to Colt Cabana, I was like, oh, that could be so fun. That could be so fun. So worth checking out, Orange Cassidy on Colt Cabana's podcast. Not The Art of Wrestling, but he was doing another one. I forget what it was called. Kylie chiming in. We love Kylie, and I think Kylie had said that she's having a bad day. So Kylie, we hope you're having a better day, or at least a better night hanging out with us than you had in the day. Saying, I'm here, I'm queer, I'm feeling a lot better. Well, that makes me so happy. Great wrestling will do that to you. It'll cure your blues, and we appreciate you hanging out. The AEW shows were fun, and I don't know if it's just me, but I feel Mike Bennett is so underrated. Also, yay, Alex is back. Yes. All great things. Very happy to have my co-host and Alex back. I missed you.
That makes me cry.
AEW was fantastic on both shows tonight, I think, from an in-ring perspective. Mike Bennett, underrated. Underrated, yes, in general, because I don't think he's ever had control over his presentation the way he, in WWE at least, until the way he has had recently. Maria is such a great person to be paired with. And he's great in the ring. I think skill-wise in the ring, he showed you a lot of what he's capable of tonight. I think he's always had the smarts, but it was really fun to see him in there with Darby. Jam Beard saying, to me, a good sign on Miro might be back soon. He is in the new Dynamite intro, and the intros have always stayed up to date with who is in it. That's a very good point. And on top of that, while the chatter was kind of going back and forth, I know there were some headlines about him. He did resign earlier this year. I don't want it to... Him rejecting a creative idea he didn't like, I don't think means he's so unhappy at AEW necessarily. It just meant he didn't want to come back in that storyline. So, I think this is wrong. I think she said it's Saraya, not Saraya. So, if I have that wrong, I'm sorry. But I'm pretty sure she corrected it the other way. Battle of the Belts. We get the Acclaim versus JJ Lethal. We also get... we'll talk about this tag match. It wasn't bad. The Acclaimed are extremely over. Max Caster had a fun Vince McMahon line tonight in his rap, which was great and timely, which we knew was going to happen. I feel like I don't need to see Jeff Jarrett on my screen 3 times in 1 week. I always called them JJ Lethal. I started that this week. JJ Lethal. Because I don't really have a tag name. What am I going to call them? The My World Remix? I don't care. They did lose, thankfully. We knew they were going to lose. I don't like matches like this. This was already an overbooked mess. The whole point of this blow-off was that the first one was overbooked. I'm so sick of seeing this on my screen. I'm so sick of JJ Lethal being in this prominent of a role. Like, if they're veterans there to put other people over, cool, but this just does not feel like a good use of the title picture when you have teams like the former Bear Country, now Iron Savages, right? When you have Private Party, when you have like the deepest tag division in the world, and this is what you're doing. It's just not for me as a story. And then on top of it, I don't really like matches. people who like it loved it. I can't say it was a bad match. I just, from a perspective of taste, don't like it. So was it good? Fundamentally, it was a good wrestling match. Is it for me? Absolutely not. On no level is this match for me. But Jeff Jarrett, to his credit, he does what he does really well. He does what he does really well. Lethal's a great in-ring worker. Bowens is phenomenal. Caster is really solid enough in the ring and fantastic on the mic and in-ring storytelling and stuff. So this match was perfectly fine. We knew the 11 o'clock on a Friday night, the titles aren't changing hands. What did you think of this?
I actually, I'm sorry, but I actually enjoyed it.
You don't have to be sorry. It was not for me. It was a good wrestling match. I'm glad there's people that liked it.
The crowd was hot for it for some reason. We obviously, a lot of people feel the same way about Jeff Jarrett, but damn, the man could still work his ass off and still get underneath people's freaking skin with the way he acts and says things. So, and the Acclaim are just so damn over, man. Like, I have not seen a tag team held this over since, God, I don't know when. The New Age Outlaws? It's maybe in my brain.
This over and this over in this way. Like breakout.
God.
This over organically. Like, I think you could argue that FTR was, or the Young Bucks are, but not in the same vibe, if that makes sense.
Right. No, you're right, because they don't they have that, like, that Attitude Era-esque feel to them, because they're doing like all the, you know,
scissor me, daddy.
Cheeky stuff, the scissor me, like all that cool stuff. But they can back it up with the wrestling, and they can promo, and they know how to work the crowd. Like, God, they're firing on all cylinders. Very happy for them.
Me too. I really enjoy Max Caster, and I'm always like, Anthony Bowens is just so great to me. So great.
This would not get over in WWE, by the way. There's no way scissoring in 2023 would get over in WWE at all.
I wonder if under Triple H it would. It definitely would not have under Vince. I don't think
maybe
Fox
Triple H would come out
and
scissor them a couple times, which would make it more fun.
DX, right? Like this is kind of in that vein. But I don't know if it works on a PG product in 2023. So I hear you on that, but it is very exciting. They are extremely organically built, organically over. This came out of the fun face turn with Daddy Gas. Like, this is like you just saw young stars get made in front of your eyes, which is always cool. I kind of feel that way about Ricky Starks. I feel like he put in the work, and then the crowd just got super behind him. They turned him face, and next thing you know, he's in the world title picture, right? So cool stuff. And speaking of cool stuff, we go from a team that you're a mark for to a guy I know you're a mark for in a really fun way. And man, I'm loving this Book of Hobbs stuff.
Love it.
This is super fun, man. I love it. Hobbs is he's going to murder people, and he's going to make us feel the pain that he felt his whole life. These are short, quick vignettes. They're very well produced, in my opinion. What did you think of this? I thought this was great.
Yeah, Hobbs is killing it right now, man. These promos are really working for him. You know, sometimes things feel a little corny, you know, but he's embracing it. We're not seeing him being overused on television, which is great. These promos are just giving us enough. I wish they did that with Miro, like what they were doing before, where he was like, "My God, my flexible hot wife." Like I would love for them to continue doing that. Those kind of promos like that, even for people like Miro who are not around as much. But yeah, I know something big is gonna come for Hobbs, and I can't wait. Like, I know they need to do like what they did with Jamie Hayter, just pull the trigger with him.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of where do you run a triple threat for Samoa Joe's remaining title? Like, what's the move there? But I don't think they invest this much in Hobbs if they don't have a plan. They're not done with the story with him and Starks. They might go back to that. So we'll see. But I like this. And this one, I think, was a little bit better from the perspective of when he was telling his story a little more in depth. I think people were worried it might turn him face because they had a lot of empathy for what he sincerely went through. This was a little bit more in the vicious vein, which I think is good. I wasn't thinking he was in fear of becoming a face because I think he gives you that snarl, goes and kicks ass in the ring, and suddenly that empathy goes away. But that's just where I sit on it. We move along to the Eddie and Ortiz promo, which we spoke about already, and then we get Jade Cargill versus Sky Blue. This match was good. This match was really good. Sky Blue, for how young she is, she's in exactly the spot she should be in. She's kind of eating losses, but people are seeing what she's capable of. Jericho did a really good job on commentary tonight, I gotta say. He's not always for me. He made some really, really good points. That spot, him talking in the Darby Mike Bennett match that you were talking about with their knees, he was like, my kneecaps would be falling off my bones if that was me. I loved that. And here he said, Sky Blue took a loss here, but it wasn't really a loss. Like, she really, really showed what she's capable of. And I thought this was great. I thought this was one of Jade's better matches too. I think she's coming along. She's getting better week over week, which is good because I think Mercedes is going to come and dethrone her, so she should be ready for that. If she does, one of Sasha Banks / Mercedes' biggest strengths, I think, is working with opponents that's bigger than her and still making it believable. I think she's great, but Sky Blue looking really, really good in this loss. We also get a Red Velvet stare down here. This was a fun match. I'm loving the story of the baddies falling apart, and I think it's a good way for Jade to drop because her protection's gone, right? She's so feeling a little overconfident. Loved the finish in this. This was awesome. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, adding to the whole Chris Jericho thing, I feel like Chris Jericho's becoming like that power figure in the back now. Like, kind of stepping into a C-suite kind of deal, like where he becomes a exec somewhere in the back and does something, even though he doesn't really want to. I feel like he's showing a lot of that leadership.
He at least has the voice, if not the position. Like, after all the drama went down, he was rallying everybody together. Like, it was good. It was good.
And he's putting people over on television, which will never hurt him ever. How you would say.
Ever.
Ever. So I think he's doing great. But my God, Jade, I'm in love, man. God, that woman has done things to me in my brain. I just love her.
I love that we have Wardlow for the girls and the gays on that side, and then we have Jade for the guys and the gays on that side. It's just good. There's you either want to get power bombed or you're gonna want to get stepped on by Jade. I think it's beautiful.
I'm all for it. And then Sky Blue, for as young as she is, she's showing a lot of toughness in the ring. She got kicked by Jade outside by the ramp, which was like
took it really well. Yeah,
you can hear it too. I was like, damn, that was good. There was some points where people were like, but how believable is it that a little girl like Sky Blue is gonna beat up a 6'8" giant like freaking Jade? Very believable. You punch someone the right way. Like, Jade played it off really well. There was a point there where Jade was like trying to catch her breath. She was coming out of the ring. Like, things were happening. The reversals, the code red, all that stuff that was happening at once. I was like, this match is insane. I'm on my feet. I'm screaming along with the crowd. Like, it was dope, man. It was dope. Best match I've seen from Jade in a while.
Agreed. And I think you talked about like the believability of someone smaller beating someone bigger. Bryan Danielson works in the company, so there you go. That's just like, if anyone's good at that, it's him. Jade and Wardlow would a mixed tag team for everybody. God. Yes, please. The thirst that would come out of that. I love it.
I'm sorry, Antonio. Antonio said, did I just say a little girl? I meant like stature-wise, she's smaller than woman. Someone who played professional basketball in Jade Cargill. But yes, that's what I meant.
Yes, which is fine.
I know she's 21,
tiny,
22, 23.
And she's
only
not a girl by a few years, so you're not too far off. But we do get the announcement that we're going to get TJ and Willow and Ruby in a street fight for Rampage next week. Next week's Rampage is going to be sick. Stacked. I'm so excited. And I'm excited. I think we kind of thought this might be where that's going. there needs to be a violent blow off in the feud that's been there. And this is kind of around the anniversary of when they did that last time, right? And it was with TJ. They were the faces then, they're the heels now. I think it's going to be a blast. I can't wait to see two of the most magnetic performers in the world, and Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale, who is a walking hug of a human being, getting to like main. That's going to be real fun.
Kind of like the Tay talking about how she grew up in, Brazil, fights and everything. And like, I had to fight for everything, which is believable because when you look at what that lifestyle is like over there. Yes. And then you got, what's her face? Damn, now I forgot her name. Anna Jay, is that her? Yeah, okay, cool. Just I want to make sure I was right.
Anna Jay.
Yeah. She's like, and I wrapped my hand in a barbed wire one time and I choked someone out. I was like, yeah, you go with your hardcore self.
I love that. Like my complaints with her heel turn, she was always talking about choking everyone out. I loved that. And then when she kind of got into like the bratty hot girl thing, I was like, no, go back to the girl who was choking everyone out all this time. That rules. So
that was like insane. She was like, yeah, I fuck people up too.
Yeah. I was like, yes. She was like so relishing it. She thought it was delicious. It was really fun. So we close this in what I think has been probably Kip Sabian's best TV showing on AEW.
Wow.
With Orange Cassidy and Kip Sabian closing this out. Kind of one of the first proper feuds that got built into this Orange Cassidy run. It's been a lot of like, throw the title on the counter in its backpack, being like, we're going to fight next week. And I love it. It's perfect for Orange Cassidy, but it was nice to get kind of a longer term story here. Champ does retain. There was some chit chat about that not being the case here because they might want to prove that Battle of the Belts is worth watching at some point. And because there was a story here where if Kip took it, that could be a huge momentum for Kip. Orange Cassidy is going to have momentum no matter what they do. You could have, this is another place, right, that Miro could re-enter here. I like the decision to keep it. I think there's probably more productive uses of an Orange Cassidy title drop. And well, I wouldn't be mad if that had happened. I feel like Orange Cassidy deserves to drop it maybe in a more extensive match on a pay-per-view or something, not at midnight on a Friday. Like, that's just my feelings toward it. But yeah, I thought the match was great. I think this was Kip's best showing. Some really fun stuff on the apron here. Kip looking really clean and athletic in a lot of this. What did you think of this match that closed out our 4-hour wrestling night where no titles changed?
I know. Wow. Battle for the nothing. So
Battle for the retaining.
Battle for retaining viewers.
5.
5. I thought it was great. Kip was insanely like I've never really watched any of his like matches before AEW. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, right?
He's very over on the indies, I gotta say.
Yes,
at least in this area. Yeah.
I became aware of him when I got one of his shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees. I was in Chicago. I said, oh, this one looks cool, and I wore it. And then I looked him up. I was like, oh, okay.
Nice. The design gotcha. I like it.
Yeah. And so I'm now seeing what he can do, and they need to let him be this person on TV and wrestle like this and just go out there and create amazing storylines with him. I wouldn't mind watching another couple matches between him and Orange and some type of,
a stipulation or something.
Yeah. Just continue that. I mean, WWE does it all the time. They did it with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. They can do it with these two,
Sure. I think this is a lot of fun. I think I feel like this is enough of a build, but I wouldn't be mad if they were in it back. And I think this is the most solid footing that Kip Sabian's ever been on, right? Like, we saw the gamer stuff that didn't really work. It was largely dragged on too long.
Yes.
He was with Jimmy Havoc, which was just obviously an unfortunate situation all around. Mm-hmm. So I'm just happy for him. Like, I think he's a valuable worker, and I'm glad that they have found something that seems to click. I thought he was great on commentary last week. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. The Pro Wrestling Podcast says, you come to my hometown, you got to visit PWT's. Respect. Buddy, today I gave Pro Wrestling Tees way too much of my money. Like, way too much of my money. and it was narrowed down from about 3 times what I ended up spending, which is egregious. But I gotta be honest, I haven't really bought a lot of merch. I wasn't going anywhere during COVID, so I wasn't buying stuff. I got some stuff as gifts, so it wasn't really like a huge thing for me. And then I got some nice end of the year bonus type things, and I was like, I'm gonna do a PWT splurge. I used to every year at the end of the year do either a WWE shop run or a New Japan Pro Wrestling Tees purchase haul. And I was like, I'm gonna do a PWT. I'm gonna do a spread of AEW and independent and stuff. So really, really, really robbed me of some money today. But a couple super chats and humper chats to round us out. Dark Cat 18, a 17-month Fightful member. Thank you so much for being a part of the Fightful main roster. Says, I can never catch a live stream. I hate how I always miss the Battle of the Belts because it's a separate recording that I always forget to set up. There was no build to this one. It was like they forgot they had it. This was
contractually obligated to put this on TNT.
It felt like a 2-hour Rampage. And I gotta say, like, the in-ring was good and some of the stories were there, but this did not feel like a special in any way, shape, or form. Coffee with Collins. I think I know who that is. I think that's our Auntie Collins over there saying, hey, love you. I'm still watching Dark live. I'm going to listen to this on the replay. How was the sound? What do you think of the new set? Sound was great. Sound has been really well mic'd and the crowds have been incredible. New set, I have mixed feelings on. I think I like the aesthetic of the last one a little bit more. I don't not like this one. I like the old one better. However, screens are real easy to move from on the road, and they're extremely, I don't have to tell you of all people, extremely dynamic. You can do so much more with like a screen heavy set. I liked the tunnels. I thought that was fun. I liked that look. So it's not my favorite. I definitely don't dislike it. I liked what they had going better, but I understand why they did it. I think it's super clean, easy to implement everywhere. Looks great on social media for clipping. You can see the TikTok frame that's sitting right there for you. It's good. It still looks great. It's, I think, probably going to be easier to produce. And the people that are making these calls know a hell of a lot more than I do. But I was just a sucker for the tunnels. I think that was a fun look. But what do you think?
I like it. I think that they got away from the tunnels just because it was kind of old school looking, which is cool because that's, you know, I remember TNA having that back in the day. Like they had it in the middle at first, then they separated the two. I'll say this. They needed an upgrade. It's been what, 4 years, 4 years now. So they definitely needed a change, and they ran it. It ran its course, and I think what they have now makes them look a little bit more like it gives them oomph. The production value has gone up. You could even tell with the lighting in the ring. The lighting in the ring is very, very bright.
My bigger thing was I didn't like that they used, there's a lot of red and blue, and I'm like, that feels very WWE to me a little bit. But there's also still black and gold, right? I think it's just the dynamic nature of having that many screens, but feels a little less like we're an alternative and a little bit more WWE looking. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that WWE does because they're the things that make the most sense, right?
Like
they move
impact
from town to town constantly. Like using a lot of screens makes sense. Using opposing colors makes sense. There's probably color psychology research that we don't even know about that happens. So there you go. That's our thoughts. We have some chats from Wednesday that were pending. One from Jambeard that says PBS and got nothing on the SGS. I'm not totally sure what that's in reference to, but I do know it's 100% accurate. And Matthew Plus saying, I would like to hear Tiffany Stratton's opinion of things. I'm so thankful for my job, but I was getting pushed super well, and I hope that doesn't change when I come back from injury. Toodles. That's all you get. That's as far as I can go tonight at 2:03 in the morning Eastern. But that closes us out. Alex, we're so glad to have you back, and I know you have a fun weekend ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to have you returning in the new year of 2023. More coming around the bend for both of us, I'm sure. But before all the new year, new you initiatives kick off, where can the good people find you now?
You can still find me, like my last year me, at Instagram on Instagram. Alexis Cardoza, find me there. It has all the links in there, so you can follow me on TikTokers and all that other good stuff. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be talking wrestling. It's something that I truly adore. And yeah, I got in about 2 to 3 hours, I got to be at the airport because I'm going to
a bachelor party to go to.
Yeah.
You can follow me at Miss Kate Fave. My Patreon tiers are launching Monday, God willing. So you can check out my paid tiers. Always free content down there as well. If you want to go to patreon.com/Miss Kate Fave, where you can also find me on Twitter and TikTok under the same handle. Tuesdays, also here on the Fightful main channel, doing whatever the hell we do on Tuesday nights on Sour Graph's NXT post show here for AEW Rampage and Smackdown and Battle of the Belts when they do it, and Wednesdays at the Mark Order podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned to Fightful Select. I'm sure it's going to be an eventful weekend. Have a safe and healthy one.